Welcome to the Anxious to Secure podcast. I'm Yula, your anxious attachment style coach. I'll help you to finally stop overthinking your relationship by overcoming your fear of being left by your partner. Thought by thought, action by action, now episode by episode. Why? So you can experience true, authentic, anxiety-free love and feel a lasting ripple effect in all areas of your life. Are you ready to become the best secure version of yourself? Let's go. Welcome to Relationship Mythbuster Tuesday, episode 20, with the topic Anxious Attachment. Is it love or anxiety? Let's talk about something that might be hard to hear, but something really important to understand if you have an anxious attachment style. The myth that anxious attachment is love. But here's the truth. Anxious attachment is actually anxiety and not love. Hear me out. I know that might be very, hard to hear, but stay with me. If you can separate love from anxiety, you can stop getting stuck in these, intense, draining relationships and start building the deep, secure love you deserve. So what's really going on, behind an anxious attachment style? Let's really uncover everything. With an anxious attachment style, everything moves very fast and quick, and you're one of the ones who really fall in love hard and fast, right? So you might meet someone and suddenly they feel like your entire world. There's this magnetic tension maybe, and you're like pulled towards him or her or them. But are you really in love, or is it more fear subconsciously? Fear of being alone, fear of not being good enough, and fear of losing them. You're not actually in love with a person. You're in love with the idea of being loved. And most of my clients, and for me as well, we all identify as hopeless romantics, at least most of my clients. And that's definitely for me the case, because we love and we have this deep craving to be loved, for the connection, to find someone, to find that person who fills that cup for you. But that fear of not finding someone or being alone and losing someone, that really can lead to staying in relationships that drain you, accepting breadcrumbs instead of real love, losing yourself just to keep them happy or to keep them close, choosing the familiar because it feels less scary than being alone. Please hands up if this sounds maybe like you, and that's okay. But don't freak out, because if this hits close to home, I've been in a similar situation years ago when I figured out about 4 or 5 years ago that I had an anxious attachment style. And that meant I was attaching to people out of anxiety and fear. And it was quite terrifying when I realized, hey, you know what? Is this, what does it actually mean? And I started spiraling, and with all of these questions, I was like, does this mean I'm not actually in love with my partner? What if my whole relationship is built on fear and not real connection? Have I been chasing reassurance instead of real love? And what if I can't trust my own feelings now and my gut instincts? How do I even know what is real? And does this mean now I should break it off and have to move away from this? And is this whole thing just a lie? And let me just tell you, it's okay. And let's just take a deep breath, because this doesn't mean anything. And I don't want you to jump to conclusions or to fabricate worst case scenarios in your head, because that's what the anxious attachment style is so good in, just like fearing the worst case scenarios and picturing this horrible future in your head. And it felt like my entire life was really flipped upside down when I realized all of this. But here's the thing, I didn't know back then. I'm not saying you don't love your partner. Let me say that again. I'm not saying you don't love your partner. What I'm saying is that your attachment style, your anxious attachment style, may have started out of fear. And over time, that fear can feel like love, right? But maybe both is true. There's still fear playing a big role, and maybe you still love him, or maybe it turned into love. But we need to get real with ourselves of what's actually going on here. Is it fear? Is it love? Is it both? And let's talk about something that's confusing for so many of us, whether we're staying in a relationship out of love or fear. So this isn't always easy to figure out, but when you really look at your relationship, answer can show up loud and clear for you. And I figured out over the years some questions that can really guide you towards the answer and can make it a little bit more clear for you. And again, always actions, create results. And sometimes journaling out these answers and these questions can help you so much more of what's actually going on here. And actually doing the thing, taking the action is really, really brave. So I want you to maybe download the episode if you can't journal out these questions right now, and just be brave and just actually listen to it and have the capacity to listen to them. If it's too much right now for you, just maybe listen to 1 or 2 questions and just allow them a little bit in. So 8 questions. So the first question is, are you staying because you're scared of being alone? And although your partner isn't giving you much closeness, they still give you enough, like a lifeline. And if you're staying because the thought of being alone is too much to bear, I think it's most likely fear keeping you in the relationship. But if you're staying because you genuinely want to build something together long term, then it might be more a sign of that it's love here. So the second question, do you feel panicked when you think about breaking up? So if the thought of breaking up feels like a crisis and that you can't handle, it's most likely more fear speaking. But if you're sad, but still understand everything happens for a reason and you'll be okay one day at least, then it might be more love speaking here. And the third question you can ask yourself here is, are you staying because you're mostly consumed by the fear of the future and all of the limiting beliefs that come with it, like not finding someone like them again, or you're worried of being too old if you're gonna break it off, or you're scared of not being able to handle the pain that comes with a breakup or a divorce, or you're being scared of that your heart's going to be broken, scared of the heartbreak. Maybe you're just, scared of being alone. Or are you staying because you're excited about the future with your partner? What is the bigger reason here? If you're staying because you're overwhelmed with the fear of being alone in the future or not finding someone else, and are scared of all of the possible reasons, then that's most likely more fear. However, if you're staying because you see a future together and you're more excited and hopeful, because you have something good here with your partner, and you could keep looking forward to that future, and you want to grow with your partner, then that might be more love. Hey you, if you're tired of just listening to all the podcasts, reading all the self-help books, and feeling like your therapy sessions aren't creating the transformation you desire, it's time to take action. You'll have to check out my Anxious to Secure course, where I reveal all my secrets and strategies that help me to heal my anxious attachment style within just 6 months. Here's the truth. 95% of our actions are driven by our subconscious mind. So even if you know the right steps to do, even if you know you have to stop chasing, to set boundaries, to focus on yourself, your subconscious mind is still stuck in fear mode. It's not enough to just know what to do. You need to rewire your mind and shift those old beliefs. That's where your real transformation happens. No more spiraling when your partner pulls away, feeling unloved when they don't shower you with compliments, anxious waiting for their validation and reassurance. These triggers are not to do with your partner. They're about your abandonment wounds that keeps resurfacing over and over again. Imagine this. Feeling secure from within, even when your partner needs space. Knowing your worth, even if they're not prioritizing you at every moment. Moving through your relationship with confidence, no matter what. If you want this kind of transformation, grab my Anxious to Secure course now before the price goes up after the first round. Comment blueprint under any of my Instagram posts or head to the link in bio. So don't wait, you're worth it. Number 4, are you staying because the relationship is actually good for you? Or are you holding on to the hope that things will get better? So if you're staying because you're holding on to hope that things will drastically change, then that's fear, right? And that's also very typical for lots of my clients. A lot of times we think like, oh yeah, we can change our partner, or the relationship might get better over time. So we cling on to this hope because maybe one day, maybe if, but if you're staying because the relationship is good right now, and of course it's never perfect, of course there are always areas of improvement, but generally if you are okay with how things are, then that's more love speaking. And the 5th question you can ask yourself here as well is, are you ignoring things that bother you just so you don't rock the boat and risk losing them? So if you're accepting behavior that doesn't feel right just to keep them close, that's fear. If you're able to bring things up honestly, knowing that it will make your relationship stronger, I would say that's more a sign for love. And then to the last 3 questions. I hope it was helpful so far. The 6th question is really powerful as well. So are you staying because you're holding on to a future vision of them rather than who they are right now? What is your gut instinct telling you? If you're hoping they will change into someone they're not, that's fear. And if you love them for who they are right now with flaws and all of it, that's love. Because so many times we're, nitpicking on our partner, trying to micromanage them and trying to change them. Number 7, do you choose the discomfort over the familiar, over the comfort of the unfamiliar? And I think that is a huge one here, right? Because so many times of my clients and in my past, I was terrified of the unfamiliar, and a huge worry and fear of someone who's anxiously attached is often the uncertainty. So ask yourself this: if you're staying because it's easier to stay in something, even if it's not good, even if it's painful, even if it's unsatisfying, even if you're just accepting breadcrumbs, even if your needs are not fulfilled, that's fear. But if you're open to stepping into the unknown for the sake of growth, and if that's exciting, then that's love. And the last question, that's also extremely, extremely powerful here, and this can help you so much. So are you staying because your partner is fulfilling some kind of needs for you? Let's say physical touch, love, connection, reassurance, making you feel seen or heard, making you feel like a sense of belonging, that you think you can't fulfill yourself, or you're too afraid of when this connection, falls apart. And even though it might be just in very small doses, it will hurt you and it would hurt you if it completely would fall away. So if you're staying because your partner is giving you just enough of what you need to feel connected and safe and fulfilled, and it feels like you couldn't survive without it, that's fear, right? But if you're staying because you want to genuinely build something together, then you could also fulfill your own needs yourself, even if this connection falls apart. That's love, I would say. And again, these journaling prompts are just something, I personally journal for myself that really gave me more security in knowing, hey, you know what? My situation is solid and I'm happy where I am, at least right now. You never know, and I never know what the future holds, and it's not my job to predict the future. But right now, I feel comfortable, and I feel happy and secure and loved, and where I am right now. And should I ever, change that, and should I ever feel more fear than love, then I can always reevaluate. Is reevaluate a word? Probably not, but then I can always change my mind and look at it again. But those questions I think would have been really helpful for me years ago. And even if this is not the case right now, I always highly recommend, because if you're right now in a situation where fear came out of these answers most of the time, that's also okay. It's very typical if you're anxiously attached to come out with fear a lot of times. And that doesn't mean you have to break up with your partner or try to force yourself to be single, because it is very hard for someone if you fear all of these things, like being alone, going through a breakup or divorce, doing these scary things. It can be way too overwhelming for you. What I always recommend is put everything into healing, into transforming your attachment style, because it only can help you out. It can make you emotionally stronger to then be able to make a decision from a stronger place, from not this fearful place. And maybe things have shifted then even in your relationship, and maybe by that time you don't even want to leave anymore, but not out of fear, but actually because things have become more secure in your relationship. Actually, things have created like a ripple effect in your relationship. And if not, at least then you're not leaving, not staying out of fear. You're actually leaving because you feel empowered and ready. And you have built this sort of foundation for yourself. And that is, I think, the most important thing I want you to take away from here. No matter if it's fear, no matter if it's love, I always want you to know that no matter what it is, working on your own attachment style is the most empowering thing you can do for yourself. And by the way, if you haven't known yet, I'm creating this Anxious to Secure Blueprint, which is a course and a self-paced course, which is amazing. All my secrets, really, strategies, how I transformed my anxious attachment style, with really the steps that I really took to do this within 6 months, which of course covers, the awareness pieces of attachment theory, but it goes really much deeper into my blueprint, meaning my 4R method, and all of my other frameworks that really helps you to become secure much faster, meaning there's a lot of emotional work involved. So emotions, belief work, really the subconscious mind is so important, because how many times have we tried to set boundaries or detach or express our needs or do the right thing, but our subconscious mind is always like, oh, nope doesn't work. And because your beliefs are always in the way, every time you think, oh no, if I do this, that means my partner will reject me, or my partner is going to fall out of love with me, or I'm not good enough, or your subconscious mind will always outwill your conscious mind. So it's important to really work with your subconscious mind here. So I will give you all the strategies to rewire your mind to your thoughts and emotions and beliefs and actions through all of the ways. And then also we really talk about your needs, how to fulfill your own needs in the most empowering way, how to fulfill your cup yourself, and then also how to communicate from a detached, grounded place. So you don't set demands to your partner, but how you can really make more requests, and then how you detach from it, and what happens if they don't do the work, the needle doesn't move. And then I give you lots of journaling prompts, shadow work. All of this is going to be really good. I'm going to link this in the show notes if you're interested. It's really amazing. Again, the first round is going to be reduced. The prices will go up fast, because it's going to be really a signature course where you can really learn everything about healing your anxious attachment style, and it's going to be amazing. Let's go back to this. The difference between love and fear, right? In summary, I would say love is very calm, slow and steady, and feels like a soft, cozy blanket you can kind of wrap yourself in. And love takes time to build. It doesn't feel rushed. When you meet someone, you need to build up the trust between each other. You don't know the person yet, so it's more like the idea of them you're in love with rather than with an actual person. So it's important to really get to know the person if you're in the dating stage. That's why there's this excitement at the beginning stage when you're dating. That's more fear, actually. That's your subconscious mind, that's your nervous system being triggered here. That's like your alarm system being triggered from your past. Like fear is more chaos. It's about urgency and panic and feeling like you can't live without this person. It's more like you're being really hijacked and you're really obsessive over them, thinking about them 24/7, waiting for them to reply and thinking, oh, should I reply now? What emoji are they sending? And all of this. But true love doesn't come with urgency. It comes from security and also self-trust. And it takes, time to build. So take a deep breath. And if your answers lean towards fear, really maybe it's time to either take a step back and look at it with like really open and honest eyes, or really just to see what can I do right now? Should I take a step back, or should I just lean inwards and do my inner work so that I can then create steps towards my future from a more empowered place? And let me touch on the different stages of a relationship quickly. So at first, the butterflies feel amazing, right? It's all consuming, it's intense, and you're addicted to this high. But then fast forward a few months or years, does this still feel exciting, or has this excitement turned into anxiety? And do you still feel safe, or do you feel like you're constantly walking on eggshells? You're hypervigilant and you're kind of watching what your partner does or when his mood changes. And do you feel uneasy when he's not okay, and are you trying to fix his or her mood all the time? And are you staying because of love or because of fear of leaving feels, maybe? Are you staying because of love or because the fear of leaving feels too big? And are you always thinking about the future and worrying about what if he leaves? What if our relationship falls apart? If you're always fearing about the future, or what if happens when everything falls apart and that you couldn't handle it? Again, these are signs of that this fear is so consuming that it's all fear that is keeping you in this relationship, probably. And by the way, just a fact about neuroscience, fear and excitement feels the same in your body, or very, very similar. So when you feel this rush of emotions, especially the beginning phase, but can also still feel during years of being in the relationship, ask yourself this: is it true love? Was my nervous system freaking out? Because again, fear and excitement can really, feel the same. Butterflies, the racing heart, it might feel like love, but it could be just be your body reacting to uncertainty. True love feels usually safe, calm and steady, not like an emotional roller coaster. But again, I don't want to scare you. I would love to just leave you with the fact that if you realize, hey, you know what, maybe it's not true love, maybe it's not calm, maybe it's more chaos, you can always do the inner work. You can always learn to create safety from within and then go from there, thought by thought, action by action. And I hope this episode was helpful, shared with a friend. Please give me 5 stars if this was helpful for you. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye, Yula. Thank you so much for being with me here today. Remember, change in your relationship starts with you. Thought by thought, action by action, and now episode by episode. If you love this episode and want to give me a virtual high five, please give me a 5-star rating wherever you're listening from. It really helps me to boost this podcast a little bit higher in the ranking so I can help even more people just like you. And even share it with one more person you think would really benefit from this episode. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you. Bye-bye.